This is Fantasy Sanctuary, and these are DFS Must Plays for Week 3. We're going to whip through a few of them. My favorite plays this week. Going to tell you the ones which are really going to help you crush your lineups and be able to build some really good, profitable lineups around these players. So let's get into it. We're going to go straight into quarterback first. Geno Smith, he's 5,700 against the Panthers. You can see on screen with our graphics, he's got 42-point over-under, which isn't the highest. And we know that on the other side of the ball, it's going to be Andy Dalton. So it's possibly not going to be the biggest shootout, but I still think there's a lot of potential for this one. In week 1, Geno, he didn't look great. He had a single-digit performance, which isn't what we want at the quarterback position. But last week, he got back to his 2022 self. He had 23.1 points and finishes QB7 on the week. His completion record, it jumped from 61% in week 1 to 75% last week. Yards per attempt jumped from 4.3 to 8.0. And yes, the Seahawks are dealing with offensive line issues. But this Carolina Panthers team, they've not been able to pressure the quarterback yet. They've got a league-low quarterback pressure rate of 16%. So I think Geno can stay upright, and I think he's really going to be able to deal with the ball. And we know that he's just got incredible pass-catching weapons. Geno, for me, he's in the mix for both cash games, multiplier, double-ups, those sort of games, as well as tournaments like big field tournaments, your milli makers and everything like that. We can double stack Geno easily with JSN or with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I really think that a breakout week is coming for Jackson Smith and Jigba. But if you wanted to play it a bit safer, then obviously DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett is a great way to do it. And if on the other side of the ball, if you want to create a real bit of a game stack, add in Hayden Hurst there. We know the Seahawks struggle against tight end positions. And Hayden Hurst isn't incredible. He's a bit of a plodder, but he is on the field quite a lot. And with Andy Dalton, he might even have a bit of a better week than he's had in the previous few weeks. Let's move on to the next one. But before we do, if you are here and you haven't subscribed to Fantasy Sanctuary already, hit that subscribe button. We do DFS, we do Dynasty, we do Best Ball during the offseason, and we've got weekly previews. These graphics are taken from our weekly preview show. So much great content, which is going to help you crush your lineups. But let's get on to it. The glamour matchup of the week, Keenan Allen in the Chargers against the Vikings, 54.5 over-under. This total is massive. Everybody expects a shootout. You know why? Because these defenses are rubbish. And I'll make no apologies for talking up Keenan Allen week after week, because this is his amount of targets he's had over the last 10 games. 8, 7, 14, 14, 9, 14, 6, 11, 9, and 10. He's averaging 19.6 PPR points over that spell. We should be talking up Keenan Allen as an every week wide receiver 1. But because he's a little bit older, he just doesn't seem to get the same pop as some other players do. I will keep playing Keenan Allen until he gets far too expensive to do so on DraftKings. And we can definitely attack this game in so many different ways. Like, you can put Keenan Allen in cash game formats because he's got that PPR safe floor. And for tournaments, you should be looking to tack on Justin Herbert, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. Really be looking to get different, because it's going to be a really popular game to stack. And the next player, Jordan Addison, 5,500 against the Chargers. We've already talked about how good this matchup's going to be. But I think what they can really capitalize on from the Vikings side is Jordan Addison getting downfield. We've seen him have these long touchdowns. We've seen that the Vikings are slowly bringing him along. But he saw his snap percentage jump by 15% in week 2. It's only a matter of time, in my opinion, before he completely takes over that wide receiver 2 role from KJ Osborne. So Jordan Addison, definitely look to get him involved in those kind of big game stacks for this game. I think he could have a really big week. And when it happens, I don't want to be waiting. I don't want to be seeing it from the outside. I want to be all in on Jordan Addison for when he actually explodes and has one of these kind of 20-point games. Moving on, Colts at Ravens. Michael Pittman is 6,200. I mean, you could attack this game from a number of different ways, but Michael Pittman has been really reliable through the first few weeks of the season. He's had 23 targets, 16 catches, 153 yards and a touchdowns. And it hasn't mattered whether it was Anthony Richardson or Gardner Minshew. They both target him plenty. After Anthony Richardson left the game last week, Gardner Minshew targeted Pittman 7 times, and Pittman caught 6 of them. So there is no drop-off. I think that this game has sneaky shootout potential in it, because the Ravens, they're beat up at defense, they're beat up at running game. They're going to have to pass the ball probably more than they might want to. So I like stacking Lamar with Zay Flowers, who can really capitalize in this zone coverage defense that the Colts play, and then adding Michael Pittman in to really stack up that game. We will move on to one more game in a minute. But if you like this DFS content, every week in our Discord, I write up a huge DFS deep dive, which has all the players I like, all the usage suggestions for each and every one of them. You can join, hit the join button below, select Golden Deck Chair. It's $4.99 a month for like $6. That's less than the price of a couple of coffees, and it is going to help you make some very profitable lineups. Moving on, the Jags and the Texans. Evan Ingram's only 4,800, and through 2 games, he's seen a target share of at least 15% in both games, as well as seeing a deep target in both games. That's what we want at tight end position. We want those players who can get downfield and really make a difference. Guys like Dalton Schultz, they're not going to get deep. They're not really going to exploit defensive matchups. And now with Zay Jones being ruled out, it feels even better set up for Evan Engram to just have a massive week in a game, which again could have some sneaky shootout potential, because the Texans, they lost Derek Stingley to IR this week. They're really beat up. Their offensive line's beat up. They need to get the ball out often. So I like playing Evan Engram, even part of a Trevor Lawrence stack with Calvin Ridley, who looks like a great value again this week. And then you can also pair Evan Engram with Nico Collins for that kind of bring back, and just hope they both end up in a bit of a shootout and the game really takes over. So those are my 5 must-play players. If you want more content, hit the join button, because there is loads more. The DFS clinic video I put out every week for our YouTube members has cash game cores, the players that I think you have to build your cash game lineups around, GPP stacks of the weeks, as well as talking about which players I think are good chalk and bad chalk, those highly rostered players, just dealing with how to deal with them. And you can jump in our Discord. Over there, we're talking loads about lineups all the time. I take people through my process for how I build lineups, and we have made some very profitable members already, and we're only 2 weeks into the season. If you like what you're seeing, hit subscribe. Check out the weekly preview show. Loads more stuff that you will really enjoy, and we'll be back soon.